Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you, family. You are now tuned in to another transformative episode of the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talk, where consciousness meets commerce and spirituality fuels strategy. Today, we're going to be talking about the currency of collaboration. So be a friend and tell a friend, and we'll be right back after a few short commercials and a beautiful prayer. See you in a minute.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
30 years ago. Congratulations. And I'm even more excited this year to open the Elijah Muhammad House, also known as Sajdah House, up for some special tours just for you, National Training Conference attendees. We're going to be having special tours on Thursday, 3 p.m. and 6 p.m., and also on Sunday at 4 p.m. So just go to ElijahMuhammadHouse.com and register to attend. And remember, space is very limited, so we got to get there and get registered. Congratulations, and I can't wait to see you. Welcome to Chicago. Ooh, all right, all right. Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings, family. Assalamu alaikum simply means peace be unto you for those of you who don't know what that means. And we, as Muslims, are taught to wish peace on everyone that we encounter. So I am praying for peace and blessings in your life when I say that to you. You're tuned in to another transformative episode of the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks, where consciousness meets commerce and spirituality fuels strategy. I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, entrepreneur, real estate developer, historic preservationist, and spiritual business coach, among a number of different things. And today I'm coming to you with the truth we can't afford to keep avoiding. Today's show is entitled The Collaboration Currency: Why Black Businesses Must Partner in Order to Prosper. This subject came up in my head. Let me tell y'all something. One of the reasons why it's taking me so long to finish my next book is because as the subjects come up, as I get the downloads, I'm bringing them here. So I'm putting it all together in a book, and we're close. There's lots of new stuff in the book and some deep dives into some economic theories and things like that. So I think you'll enjoy it. So stay tuned, stay close. But before we get into the heart of this message, I need to speak on something that's hurting us in silence: mean-spiritedness, hater energy, and the refusal to collaborate. Before we go any further, let me say this, okay? I want you all right now to stop allowing what somebody did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago to ruin your life today. Stop allowing it. Somebody that hated on you. I was in meditation, and this is how I do it. I can't say that or prescribe it for you, but I went into meditation and I just started cleaning up things in the past that happened that maybe made me feel unworthy. So just like sweeping up and cleaning up. And I discovered somebody, a person in particular, who is a hater, who I realized that through their words and their actions and their sorcery, that I had allowed them, or I had been carrying their hate and their pain with me for a number of years. And I just said, I bless you and release you to your highest and best. I'm free and you are free. And I literally could just see the energy and the spirit of it going away. Some of this mean-spiritedness, this hater energy. And if you are a mean-spirited person, and if you're a hater, you need to stop it today, because you're going to die a horrible death. It's like my grandmother used to say, just watch, you'll read about them. They're going to have a hard time dying. That says a lot, right? But some of us can't even collaborate because somebody did something to us 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and we can't get over it. Get over it. Let it go. Let's be real. We are not going to build freedom cities, Black Wall Streets, or global brands by hoarding ideas, being passive aggressive, or tearing each other down online or in private. It's not going to happen. And I believe this. I believe that Allah, God's desire for us to be free, is stronger than any negativity that anybody can cast against us. And anybody that's being negative, being a sorcerer, somebody who did something to you, doesn't want to see you prosper, jealous of you, trying to get out in front of you, they will be removed. They'll be removed from your life, and they'll be made to see themselves, because we living in a different day and time. You may have gotten away with that 20 years ago. You may have gotten away with that 30 years ago. You may have gotten away with that 40 years ago. You may have gotten away with it yesterday, but you won't get away with it today, because people are more aware, they're more awake, and God is on the scene, making sure that those of us that he can use as a conduit are free from obstructionists like you. You cannot receive divine blessings with clenched fists, and you cannot build legacy with a closed heart. Let me say that again. You and I cannot receive divine blessings. We cannot lock into that inheritance that we deserve with a clenched fist, whether the fist is clenched because we're trying to hold on to something because we done stole something, or because we're using it to hold somebody back or to fight somebody. You cannot receive divine blessings. You cannot walk into that inheritance with clenched fists. God is on the scene. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're in the way, he will remove you. And you cannot build legacy with a closed heart. If you don't trust, if you refuse to love, if you don't want to collaborate, you're scared to do something nice for somebody, you're always worried about somebody getting one up on you, you can't be vulnerable, you cannot build legacy today with a closed heart. Anybody who is not collaborative, who is a hater, envious, jealous, competitive minds, they need to be shunned. Let me get some coffee on that tip. Let me say it again. Anybody who's not collaborative, anybody who's a hater, anybody who's envious and jealous, have a competitive mind and demonstrate those things in a manner in which they show that they don't desire to heal, need to be shunned. Don't join on with nobody, hating on nobody else, being envious and hurting other people. If you are not for the culture, kick rocks. If you are not for the culture, kick rocks. Nobody has time to be fighting you. We're going to let Allah fight you. We're not going to worry about fighting you anymore. You are out of here. You know why? Because you're out of here in our mind. You're out of here in our subconscious. You're out of here in us gaining permission for you to tell us what we can and cannot do. God is giving instructions. He's downloading into people. He's accelerating his presence. He's collapsing timelines. You got to get out of the way. We are not interested in going to war with you when you are hell-bent on fighting people who look like you just so you can be in control or in charge. This season requires something higher: unity, vision, collaboration. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. So first of all, let's talk about this powerful prayer that all Black entrepreneurs should have memorized and posted somewhere near where we work as a reminder. I keep this prayer posted in various different places. It's also in my mind. I'm going to show you an excerpt of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan addressing the Nubian Leadership Summit, September 24th, 2022. Okay, let me check this out. Peace and blessings to you all in the chat. I see y'all here. Let me see who we got up in here. I see Sister. Oh, I see Brother Lamont. Brother Lamont was on there early. Hey, Brother Lamont. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Alita. Hey, girl. Hey. Assalamu alaikum. Saturday blessings, she says. All right. And we got Monica Daniels Muhammad says, Assalamu alaikum and great Saturday, beloved. Spencer Farwell. Y'all remember Brother Spencer? He was on the show. Peace be unto you. I think Brother Spencer has also, let me tell you, we put these prayers and momentum around Brother Spencer. I think he's making a little headway. Let us know in the chat, brother. In the meanwhile, I want us all to pay attention to this beautiful prayer and listen to what our beloved, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says. And this is something we all should heed, especially those of us that are builders, those of us that are developers, those of us that are conscious entrepreneurs, spiritual entrepreneurs, those of us who are taking the lead and taking charge of our minds, of our divinity, of our own divine assignment. Do not listen, we all have a period in our life that was a low period. Maybe we met somebody that did something to us. Maybe we made a mistake. But do not let those periods define the rest of your life. And more specifically, do not allow people that knew you back then or knew of you back then try to take you back to that condition of the mind or reach into your future and stop what you got going on and the momentum that you have and the alignment that you got with Almighty God Allah. They cannot win today. All right, here we go. Check this out.
I have chosen to use prayer And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that the remembrance of Allah is the greatest force against evil and our doing of evil. So we can't build a great nation acting like the enemy whose world is going out. We can't build a great nation with envy and enmity and self-hatred among us that break us up whenever we try to get started and build a unified front of Black people for the future of us as a people. So this prayer that I wanted to bring to your attention is a prayer that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we should say it 7 times a day. I want you to listen to the words that are accented in this prayer.
Yes, sir.
It says, "O Allah, I seek your refuge from anxiety and grief. I seek your refuge from the lack of strength and laziness. I seek your refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. I seek your refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice thou us with what is lawful. Keep us away from what is prohibited, and with your grace, make us free from want of what is beside you." Ameen. My beloved brothers, sisters, take this prayer and pass the words that represent the characteristics that we are seeking refuge in Allah against. And then remember the end of the word of the prayer. Suffice thou us with what is lawful. Crookedness in any way, shape, or form should never be among us in seeking to build a great nation on the nature of God and our nature, which is righteousness.
Yes, sir.
Suffice thou us with what is lawful. Keep us away from what is prohibited, and with your grace,
make us free.
Make us free from want of what is beside you. These are the literal characteristics that we gotta get rid of by seeking refuge in the God, not in the United Nations, not in these institutions set up by the enemy. They are fading and falling.
Yes, sir.
And dying a well-earned death. So you and I must strike out on a new and better course.
Yes, sir.
And that course is based on our very nature.
Yes, sir.
God formed us.
Yes.
In the best of molds, this body. But in this body, it must become the dwelling place of God himself. Anointed by his spirit, his energy, his life, his vision.
Yes.
And then we go forward, and I can tell you if we rid ourselves of these characteristics that have broken us apart over the years.
Yes, sir.
I can guarantee you there is no failure for us in what we desire to do,
Yes.
what we are self-determined to do, to build a righteous nation. Not only for us, but you say for black people, but when you say black, you have to include all of that came from black, with the exception of the open enemy of man.
Yes, sir. Whew, that got me this morning, y'all. I'm ready. And we have 2 shows next week where we're breaking down that prayer and that condition of mind for those of us as conscious entrepreneurs. So stay tuned for that, because I'm working on that. Now, let's get one thing straight. I want to talk about the myth of solo success. And we've been talking about this rugged individualism that it has been born out of colonization, where we are just ruggedly individual. My stuff, it's me, 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 me. We're ashamed to ask for help. We're ashamed if we need something. If we need something, people make us feel bad. People can't wait to put you in a controlling situation. Listen, we're eradicating all that today, because we are no longer allowing people like that with those strong negative vibrations to impact where we're going in the future and stand between our alignment with Almighty God, Allah. Today, that ends. Every thriving business has to think about this. Nobody makes it alone. This self-made millionaire culture is a myth. You know that? It's interesting because one of my mentors in my head is Sister Annie Malone, who was the trainer and the millionaire entrepreneur prior to Madam C.J. Walker. But if you notice, when they put the PR around Madam C.J. Walker, they say she was the first self-made millionaire. But there was a system, there was a team around her. There was somebody who taught her, somebody she emulated, somebody she modeled, a product that she modeled from someone else. And then she built a huge team around her, just like the person she modeled built a huge team around them. So, and I don't even think the family did that. I don't think the family coined her the first self-made millionaire. I think that was PR that was put out there to make us think. We don't see, this is what they did. They took us away from the valuable currency of unity and collaboration by telling us things like, here's a self-made millionaire. So you take progressive people like myself, progressive professionals like yourself, and you say, oh, here's a self-made millionaire. Check out this person. And so then we start thinking, I can be by myself and do this. I don't need nobody. I can just work. I can just grind, and I can do what I got to do without talking to nobody. And so it puts us in a situation where we never win, because we're so busy trying to model something that is a myth. How do you call 2 sisters self-made millionaires when they had, okay, some people say, well, the distinction is that the money didn't come from an inheritance. But I could argue that, because if Annie Malone is stepping into an inheritance, she's living her life. Her epigenetics are with her. She inherited the skills and the attraction power to have 40,000 employees in the early 1900s, to drive a Rolls Royce, to make millions of dollars, to open a school, to be able to be one of the most benevolent and philanthropic women in the world. That was already in her. So she inherited that. That's part of our inheritance. So some of us have an inheritance that we're walking right into, but we're dissonant because it's not money. You inherited your looks. You inherited your mind. You inherited your skills. You inherited who you are. Everything about you that you hope somebody sees and invests in is something that you have inherited. So when you become a millionaire, a billionaire, a trillionaire, you inherited that. It's yours. Let me say it this way. Oftentimes when you make money on your own, people want to make fun of you. They want to say, oh, that's new money. That's this, that's that. It's all these terms. But at the end of the day, whatever I make, the millions that I'm sitting on, the billions that I'm sitting on, the trillions I'm walking into, whatever it is part of a lineage and an ancestry that is deserving of those rewards, that is praying for my success, that deposited into me things that put me in a position to be able to acquire those things. So I'm the same as you. Even if your money came from some benevolent great uncle, I'm the same, because I got other traits that are equally as valuable that my ancestors put down in me. I throw away any negativity, and guess what? Any negativity, I'm stepping on that and using that to become a better person. I'm just telling y'all today, stop allowing all this old school stuff to impact where you are today and where you're going. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years old. Listen. Look at how Allah is blessing Black people today. They got these memes going around on the internet with a little girl look like she's 10 years old and she's saying, I'll be 50 tomorrow, because he's blessing us. That ain't for nothing. There's a reason. We're getting extensions on this timeline. You know, during slavery, the average person died at 52. And yes, we're still dying way too young, but some of us in our 50s looking damn good. And we got a lot of life ahead of us. So don't lay down. Don't let the society tell you, okay, it's time to retire. It's time to go sit down. You should be tired. It ain't too late for you to get in shape. It ain't too late for you to lose weight. It ain't too late for you to get your health together. It ain't too late for you to align with Allah and start collaborating and build a life and a legacy for yourself and for your family. The self-made millionaire culture is a myth. Every thriving business has a team, a tribe, a mentor, a support systems, and sometimes even a whole movement behind us. Yet too many Black entrepreneurs are taught to go at it alone. This is the model we've been given. Be alone, be by yourself, live in an isolated place. Don't be close to nobody. Don't be friends to people. Distrust each other. Compete instead of collaborate. See scarcity instead of shared abundance. Those are just common things that we practice in our community. It's time to deprogram. The world isn't waiting on more solopreneurs. The world is waiting on Black-owned ecosystems. You hear me? If I'm sitting over here in Chicago, Illinois, I should be building an ecosystem that's going to touch people around the world and liberate and uplift them. That's what I want to do with my work. I want my work to be so widespread and so influential that people just feeling it, and then they desire, man, if I can get to Chicago, hopefully I can meet with her. Hopefully I can come to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum. What more can I do? Let me build my movement. And then we just start sparking these movements all around the world. The world needs a new mind. The world needs new resources. The world needs new people. We are an untapped, investment-worthy segment of society that can build a new economy just by uniting and pooling our resources. We've already proven, our resume shows that we are collaborative. We can make lemonade out of lemons. I don't even need to go into that. Y'all already know how we do. Y'all know what it is. Come on now. All right, welcome, Dr. Safia Shabazz. Assalamu alaikum, sis. Welcome to Dress Code. Welcome to my brother, Delano Johnson. He said, you preaching, sis. I'm on fire today because Allah gave it to me, brother Delano. we're talking about collaboration, unity, networking. And I was sparked by this, Brother Delano, on the last call that we had. And I started looking at our resistance as a people to unifying, our resistance as a people to networking. Let me tell you something. Allah put this so strong in my mind that I spent $250,000 on a statue and put it in the front lawn of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum, and it represents unity. It's got 7 members of the African diaspora all touching the cracked atom. And if you know anything about an atom, when you crack an atom open, what's inside of the atom is the same thing that's on the outside of the atom. That's a whole nother teaching right there. Stay tuned for that one too. Let's go back. When we talk about Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, we often highlight the wealth, but we forget the interdependence that made it possible, right? The tailor that bought from the Black-owned fabric shop, the teacher that ate at the Black-owned cafe, the banker that gave loans to Black homeowners, all right? I could go on and on and on. It was collaboration, not just commerce, that created generational wealth. And it wasn't just Tulsa. You got the Freedom Farms by Fannie Lou Hamer that helped feed entire communities. You got the Nation of Islam that created these vertically integrated businesses and self-improvement networks, transforming and resurrecting Black people by the thousands. This is interdependence. This is networking. So when I come on and I show you the flyer and I say, hey, attend the Power Networking Conference, y'all think I'm just trying to get y'all to go to a conference. No, I want you to know other people, because you are just one introduction away from what you want in life. Marcus Garvey envisioned global commerce among Black people across the continents. We have always known how to collaborate. Hell, we collaborated as slaves. We had communication networks. Don't let them make you think that we was just sitting up here. We rebelled. We had networks. We hired ourselves out. There were slave entrepreneurs who convinced their masters to allow them to work. We're going to cover that in a future show. We have always known how to collaborate. We could never, Harriet Tubman could never have done what she done. She didn't do that by herself. There was networks of people that helped her along the way. If they didn't do nothing but just turn their back when they saw her and not report her. We just need to reclaim that blueprint of collaboration, that blueprint of the village, that blueprint that we came from, that got interrupted when we were kidnapped. But we still kept doing it underground. And then somehow when we came out, and here's where we made our mistake. When we started being allowed to integrate into mainstream society, and we started to look to other things outside of our own culture to rule our behavior. And they started telling us self-made millionaires, self-made this, let me hire you. Don't like this person. The whole Willie Lynch mindset became modernized. And now all of a sudden we can't collaborate. We can't network. I was sitting up yesterday. I have a book signing and a speaking engagement coming up in my hometown, Omaha, Nebraska, soon at the Native American Omaha Festival. And I was thinking about all the people that influenced me, that helped me, that touched my career and my life along the way. I started to really bask in how rich that network was. Even a metaphysical network. I was just telling my mother the other day that I went to Italy on a trip with Comcast, and we went to Palermo, and I fell in love with Palermo. I was just something about it. I was just loving the vibe. I was like meditating. I was in the ocean. It was fabulous. It was one of the most interconnected. It's probably the place where I felt the most connected to a energy out of all my travels. And I've been in a lot of places. And then I was just doing some studying the other day, and I grew up in a church called St. Benedict the Moor. And St. Benedict the Moor was a Black priest who had been a slave, and he was known for his benevolence. And I found out that he was born in Palermo. See, that network is why you can't diss networking. That network, what's the chances that my grandmother would migrate north, move to Omaha, Nebraska? Her and my grandfather, they have their children, they enrolled them in St. Benedict's school and church. Then I come up, I didn't go to the school, but I went to the church, had my first communion there and all of that. But then I double back years later, 40 years later, and go to Palermo and find out that that's where this person is from. And I get the connection. I understood some things about myself just from learning about him in Palermo, and I was reminded of it the other day. And so I started tracing the breadcrumbs. This person made a phone call for me. This person did that. This person gave me school supplies. This person hired me. This person did that or this. My parents and all the things that they were able to accomplish in that small town. I said, man, collaboration is in our blood. Okay, so let's talk about what collaboration looks like today. All right, what does collaboration look like? Here's a few models working right now in our communities. You got joint ventures. That's where two brands come together to create a product, event, or service. You all know that I love unique partnerships. That's kind of how I've built my career, between real estate and unique partnerships. So building a healthcare center, but going, what can we do within this healthcare center model to build another income pipeline? We had television, we had MIVC TV, we had art collecting, we had festivals and events. So bringing, health food, juice bar. So bringing all these different things together. I could go on and on, but I love that kind of thing. But this is a legal way to do it. And the other way is not necessarily illegal. It's just we'll talk about it. It's kind of like a shared retail space or a skill swap. But joint ventures, you can actually put it together legally, or you can just partner on different events and ventures. Here's the thing. And I learned this as a consultant many years. I've been on the other side of the table in a lot of different businesses. When a particular business model is put together, okay, the people who put the model together already have the data to know that if you and I follow that model, we're going to make X amount of dollars. They already know that. Soon as you go get your license, soon as you go apply, soon as you go somewhere, they already know here's the income range that you are going to make following that particular model. They already know it. And so they know that if they then put regulation and around you and box you in, they got a cap on the amount of dollars that you're going to make. And they know how much of that money they're going to take from you, whether it's in fees, whether it's in, whatever you got to pay. They already know. Okay. So the only way that you're going to make money outside of the data parameter that they assign to that particular business model is if you think outside the box, if you think creatively, if you start to pull together industries and ideas and design something that is different and new. That's the only way you're going to make money outside of that box. When we start talking about the Annie Malones of the world, she changed the model. So you got to figure out how, if you're working in an industry, especially if it's heavily regulated, how do you create products and services that are outside of that model, because these people already know if you're an accountant and you get a degree and you go get a job in an accounting firm, they know what you're going to make. They know what the maximum it is that you're going to make. But instead, we're working there, whether we're a designer or whatever we're doing, we work there and we're thinking we're going to make more and more money. But they already know. They know that the maximum you're going to make might be $200,000 because they designed it that way. So what we have to do is you got to learn how to break up the algorithm by being creative. This is the way, this is business warfare I'm giving y'all right now. So y'all go to that Cash App because I'm telling you something that a lot of people ain't going to put you up on this game. If, let's say you're putting together something. Let's say you're working on throwing parties or a conference or something like that. And when your competitor wants to compete against you, they come in and they're going to assess your business model. Whether they send people in, a lot of times they use mercenaries. Things are online nowadays. They can look and see what your business model is. So they look at your business model, and from your business model, they can calculate about how much money you're going to make, about how many people you're going to be able to draw. And so they also can calculate what aspects of your program are the most attractive, what's drawing the most people. And then what they do is they hone in and attack that most successful aspect of your project, your planning, your model. And so when they cut your legs out from up under you, then they don't have to worry about you anymore because they already now know how much money you're not going to make and what little money you are going to make. So when you are putting together these business models and you're working on things, you got to be creative. You got to get ahead of the curve. All right. So anyway, joint ventures, two brands come together to create a product, event, or service. Then there's shared retail spaces or pop-ups. These are great because they have reduced overhead. You can increase your traffic. You can multiply your visibility. All right. We're talking about models of collaboration or networking or things that we can do to come together and pool our resources. Remember, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says 6 or 8 of you get together and pool your resources and go into business for yourself. So these are ways, modern ways in which we can do that. Joint ventures, shared retail spaces or pop-ups. There's referral networks. Imagine every Black therapist getting clients from Black barbershops, or every doula being referred by a fitness trainer. Right? So you got to learn how to be creative and put these things together that are outside of the traditional norm. Right? Then there's skill swaps. For example, you design my website, I shoot you a promo video. No cash exchange, but real value shared. This right here is really powerful. I do this with my friends all the time. What you need, what you need, what you need, sis, what you need, bro. And we swap. We look out for each other, swap services. I got you on this. If it's something big that's going to take an extended amount of time, then yeah, we'll say, hey, I'll cut you in on the budget. Here's the line item. That's yours. But the skill swaps we have to be afraid of. Stop thinking somebody's stealing from you if you have to help them put a flyer together, or if you got to, pick them up and y'all go network together. We got to get out of this rugged individualism. All right. You can also do things like digital collaboration, live streams, bundle sales, podcast crossovers, affiliate marketing campaigns. All right. There's a lot there. You can do cross-industry collaborations. This one is actually my favorite, where you break the patterns by pairing products and services that are traditionally separated. Think about it. Something that I did in the healthcare space, I had a comedian to be our spokesperson. Most healthcare facilities don't do that. It's all serious and you see the commercials and it's all very robotic. but we got a comedian to do it. And people loved it. It made them feel more comfortable. They said, I feel like I can heal quicker here. I'm not going to go into that, but that one is my favorite. Cross-industry collaborations. So if you're building a model right now, this is the quickest way to ruin the algorithm, because you may think that you're planning and working on your project or your event in a vacuum. Trust me, somebody's looking at you and thinking to themselves, how can I do that? How can I take the money from them? This is the world we live in. This is business warfare. And if you don't realize you're at war, then you're going to lose. So cross-industry collaborations are critical, because one of the things that happens in the business world is they generally don't independently tap into new markets. What they do is they wait for somebody else to do something and kind of beta test it. So they wait till something gets popular in the community, and then all of a sudden you see replicas of it. Okay, here's what nobody's talking about it. Here's what nobody's talking about. This is another collaboration form. The fact that collaboration is spiritual warfare against scarcity. Unity, networking, collaboration is spiritual warfare against scarcity. How do we get caught up in scarcity? Because we are in a business warfare and we get attacked and we get pinched off and things get scarce. And when things get scarce, we have an emotional response to the scarcity. And when we have the emotional response to the scarcity, sometimes we get traumatized, or it causes financial trauma. And then we keep moving and trudging along, but we let the financial trauma from yesterday impact how we're moving in the future. And what I'm saying is dial some of that back and realize it's just scarcity that was created from an enemy. And I know we don't like to talk like this, but if you don't start seeing it like this, you're not going to be able to get your stuff off the ground. It's just scarcity that was created by an enemy that saw in you what you didn't see in yourself. Collaboration is more than a strategy. It's spiritual warfare against scarcity. Scarcity is not just about money. It's a mindset. It's a memory. It's a fear. It's a vibration. And it gets passed down through generations of being forced to do things by yourself. See, if you know you got help, that changes your vibration. But if you think you got to go at it alone, that's a different vibration. And which one is more productive? You tell me. It's a mindset that happens when we have to watch what's been taken from us. See, when we go into scarcity mode, we're already emotionally attached to what we have. And then if it gets taken, or if it gets, if things get tight, now we messed up in the head. What I want you to do is, if you're in a scarcity moment, I want you to say to yourself, what is coming between me and the flow that I desire? Is this just a winter season? Do I need to go through and then get back to spring? What's happening here? Look at it. Don't look at it like I ain't got no money and don't nobody want to help me, or I'm all by myself on my project. Especially in your business. What is your enemy doing that is pinching you off from what it is that you are working on, pinching you off from those customers, pinching you off from those members? What is the enemy doing? 9 times out of 10, this business, this predatory capitalist world that we live in, if they see a little flow, they coming. Some are going to come and be really sweet. Some are going to come and be really mean. Rarely do you see the demon for what he or she is, because the job of the devil is to make you think that they don't exist. Stop believing that there's not enough for us all. Think about the abundance. You can't believe in God and talk about the abundance of God and the abundance of creation and everything that is there for us, and then believe that there's not enough for all of us. Just take a look at the $1 trillion that we have in spending. We got to get $1 trillion in order to spend it. So stop thinking that there's just not enough. Everybody's poor. So it's just about flow. Scarcity says, protect yours, trust no one, stay small, play it safe. But when we collaborate, I mean, really, really collaborate, we are fighting that lie with light. And here's what our networking collaboration says. It says, I'm not alone. It says we can rise together. What I have doesn't take from you. It multiplies when we move as one. When we join forces, we activate circulation. And circulation is sacred. Ask anybody with poor circulation. It's sacred. It's the way abundance flows. It's the way communities grow. It's the way divine ideas move from vision to victory. We are not hustling for crumbs. We are building tables together. Go pick up Psalms 23. So every time you share a platform, refer a client, promote a fellow entrepreneurs, know that you are engaging in spiritual warfare. You are dismantling the lie of lack, and you're calling down the truth of divine sufficiency. Because in the mind of God, in the mind of Almighty God Allah, there is no shortage. There's only abundance. So let's collaborate like our future depends on it, because it does. Right? It's more than us just working together. It's the intentional act of combining gifts, energy, and vision to create something greater than any of us would build alone. It's not just about ego. It's about alignment. It's not about just sharing tasks, but sharing purpose. True collaboration means there's mutual respect, transparent communication, and divine reciprocity. So when we ask you to come to these networking events, when we tell you, hey, come meet this person, that's a divine, sacred introduction. It's either going to teach you who you do want to work with or who you don't want to work with. So come prepared. Everyone contributes. Everyone receives. Collaboration is divine technology. Networking is divine technology. Unity is divine technology. Just look at nature. The sun collaborates with the soil to bring forth the harvest, right? The body collaborates with the breath to keep us alive. Even Allah collaborates with us as co-creators of vision and manifestation. Ooh, let me say that again. Even Allah God collaborates with us, little you and me. Collaborates with us as co-creators of a vision or a manifestation. Just the fact that we're here on the earth, we are a co-creator. So when we choose collaboration, we're not just being strategic. We are honoring a higher law. We are stepping into something sacred. Let me give you this last thing before we go. I know. When we collaborate, when we network, we multiply the impact. You can access each other's audiences. This is why I say we're investment worthy, because each of us have access to a demographic that somebody else doesn't have access to. So we can access each other's audience. We can elevate each other's confidence. You know how important certainty is in the world? You know how much more you can get out of life if you set the intention and say, I'm certain, I'm certain, I'm certain, I'm certain in my ability, I'm certain. You know what confidence does in terms of your energy and your attraction power? Come on now. I want you to think about that. Matter of fact, I want you to set your intention today. I want you to set an intention for today to be collaborative and attractive, and watch what happens. We got to prove and show that unity is profitable. Everybody knows that but us. We heal. When there's unity, we heal. We undo the trauma that tells us if you win, I lose. We create new codes in our DNA. If you rise, I rise too. And we replace ego with ecosystem. Let's be honest. Being against collaboration is not innovation. It's not power. It's definitely not strategy. It's an old school survival-based trauma-informed behavior, the kind that says, I got to protect mine. I can't trust nobody. If they shine, I disappear. It's old school and antiquated to be a hater. It's old school and antiquated to be a hater. It's old school and antiquated to think that you can be a rugged individual and get somewhere and build legacy. That's why we're struggling with intergenerational wealth, because old school thought, I got to get mine. I got to survive. And that's okay. We're not mad at them for that, because we understand that they were in a space and time in which all they had to do was survive. And guess what? Had they not survived, we wouldn't be sitting on these inheritances that we're sitting on. So it's okay. But we now are going to transform that energy. It's okay. We can build generational institutions. That old mindset was born out of systems that taught us to be afraid of each other. Think about the propaganda that's out here in the news, where we're literally afraid of each other. Literally. I remember with Brother Minister Rasul Hakeem Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him. We used to go out back in the day. This is like way back in the day. And we would see how many people we could talk to, like in an hour. And we would count. How many people did you get? We'd be inviting people out to the mosque. So we would have these competitions, but we couldn't just do it by walking up and go, hey, you want to come to the mosque with me? You had to be creative and figure it out. And so we would sit up, we would go out, and we would figure out how many people can we invite out to the mosque. And we came up with our elevator pitch, and we would just go out and dispatch and come back. How many you get? How many you get? How many you get? And I remember him saying something to me one day. He says, sis, I love you because you're not afraid of our people. And I remember thinking to myself, well, what's there to be afraid of? But see, a lot of us have a mindset where we're afraid of our people. Don't get me wrong. Some of us are monsters. And if you see the monster, put the fiery hedge around you and go the other way. These are systems that made us compete for crumbs, right? So while we're so busy competing for crumbs, time is passing. When other people are building legacies. It's a mental system that was created for us to be divided so that we could be conquered. A lot of us are still operating under that old programming. If you're still operating under that old programming, then you're still submitting to that old system, and you're still going to produce the same results. But let's be clear, that programming has expired. And we got to get it up out of us. The new wave of Black enterprise is not on isolation. It's interdependence. It's ecosystems, joint ventures, cross-promotion, affiliate partnerships, shared platforms. This isn't just good for business. It's evolved thinking. So if you think you're evolved, then this is where your mind should be going. And in 2025 and beyond, refusing to collaborate is just outdated. In fact, about it, if right now in 2025, you refuse to network, you refuse to unite, you refuse to step outside the box, you are a liability. Because no empire, no movement, no spiritual mission has ever been built alone. So if you're still holding on to that lone wolf, I don't need nobody mentality, ask yourself, is that wisdom? Or is that an old wound still talking? It's time to upgrade the mindset. We can be powerful and unified. We can be legendary together, because unity isn't weakness, it's wealth. So if you're sitting in your home or your office right now, plotting against somebody, purposely trying not to collaborate, avoiding the idea of unity, working to cut somebody off, you are a liability to the legacy of the culture. All right. I know we're running a little behind time because I've been talking a lot. Let me give you 5 ways that you can begin practicing the powerful protected collaboration model that I'm talking about. Start small. Start small. I know this is hard for some of us are scared. So if you're scared, start small. Like maybe share a live stream, do a bundle sale with somebody, get on a panel discussion. Make sure you're vetting people for alignment. All right. Don't partner just because someone is popular. Align on values, vision, and vibration. If somebody don't have the right vibration or the same vibration as you, see, as you're planning, I want you to start thinking about what type of vibration do I need to tap into to reach my goal. And then you find people that are aligned with that vibration and you move forward with them, because now you're multiplying the vibration. And then if you can, sit down. If it's something that's going to be long-term, get it in writing. If you guys are working together on something 6 months, a year, agreements protect both the energy and the expectations. Be transparent about the roles and the profits. Money doesn't ruin friendships. Lack of clarity does. And then celebrate publicly. Respect the culture. All right. And let me leave y'all with this. Let me leave y'all. I'm going to get off of this. Let me leave you with this. One Black business is a seed, but a garden of Black businesses collaborating, circulating, and supporting one another is the beginning of an economic resurrection. Allah didn't design us to walk alone. Even the prophets had helpers, y'all. Even empires had counsel. So who's on your council? Who's in your circle? Who are you building with? Let's stop isolating and start integrating. Let's stop competing and start collaborating, because together is the only way that we win. All right. Okay. I see y'all in the chat. I was not ignoring y'all, but I just had to get that out. So much was downloaded to me this morning. So yeah. So y'all know we have Brother Spencer on the show. Brother Spencer, is going through some environmental injustice down there in Houston, and he made some headway. And he just said that he said yes to my response. Sister Monica said, beautiful alignment of your connected to Italy spiritually. Yeah. It was really powerful. Dress code said yes, ma'am. Actual fact. Who is that? Monica said all in divine order. Thank you, sis. Keen X Robinson, assalamu alaikum, family. Sister Sajdah, you are teaching. Wa alaikum salam. Be certain. Yes, and yes. Keen Robinson said, set the intention. Yes, ma'am. The economic blueprint of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is recession and depression proof. Amen. All right, y'all. So peace and blessings. I'm going to design a show, inshallah, for next week, Friday and Saturday, where we're going to break down that prayer that we went over, the prayer from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that the minister went over at the beginning. I showed the video at the beginning of the show. We're going to break that down the next 2 shows, because that sets the stage for the mindset that we want as we're moving forward as conscious entrepreneurs. Okay, so if you all don't have any more comments, make sure you support. We are giving you life-changing information here on this platform. Freedom ain't free. So donate something. We're not asking specifically, but we want you to help us keep this network going. Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. I'm going to do everything in my power. I have a track record of working to bring to you and to anybody that I'm with anything that's going to help support what they're doing, to help push them forward, to help move them forward. And I do this, but I want us to make sure that we get into the flow. When you receive, make sure you give. All right. Freedom ain't free. So thank you to everybody. Thank you for your 5s, your 10s, your 50s, your 100s, your 1000s. I'm just going to thank y'all ahead of time. Thank you for that. Because we're going to continue to bring great information on this platform. I have some upcoming events that I'm going to be announcing. I'm going to try to go live a couple of days next week on social media because things are unfolding so quickly and the timeline has accelerated. And what has accelerated the timeline is what I was telling you about going into my mind and cleaning up some stuff. The timeline starts to accelerate. So I'm going to come on and share some of those things with you because there's some events. I mentioned that I'm going to be going to Omaha Day. Inshallah, we got the National Training Conference coming up. Just lots of great stuff that's happening. I got some speaking engagements. So we got Power Networking Conference coming up. We got the Modest Fashion Week coming up. We got the debut of the first episode of The Messenger's Residence. We're trying to figure out when we're going to do that. Like I said, I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a virtual release. That way you all can all jump on from around the country and see that first episode. I think you'll love that. You'll be excited. We got some work that is beginning to get started back up on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. This is our last big push, and we're close to being done. So continue your support. You can visit us online at ElijahMuhammadHouse.com and pray for me because I'm getting through this next book. And every time it just starts opening up all these downloads, and then I write another chapter and another chapter. But I'm about to cut it off and go back and polish. I actually wrote 3 chapters this week just because of how my mind was downloading. Anyway, love you all. I wish each and every one of you more love, more goodness than you've ever experienced or imagined. I pray that whatever you're working on that is of good, that is in alignment with Almighty God, Allah, that the efforts are multiplied, that you begin to see results, that you begin to see a sign that God is with you, that he loves you, and that you are headed in the right direction. And if you're headed in the wrong direction, I pray that you respond to the whisper and not the brick upside the head, and you make that turn and make that shift as needed. All right. So go make your donations, make sure you support, and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. All right. Peace and blessings. Don't go anywhere. Check out this commercial.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible